Hi, we're at the end of Unit 2B, and so I've created a review to help you refresh over the many things that we have done in this unit and be sure that you are prepared to do your best on the quiz. All right, so we did a lot with proportions, and so this first one is just a simple proportion. We're going to cross multiply and then divide. So 2 times x will be equal to 3 times 8. And I would just need to divide by 2. And so x is equal to 12. Now, you don't absolutely have to cross multiply. You could also look at this problem and say, 2 times 4 is 8. So 3 times 4 is 12. I have to do the same to the top and the bottom for it to stay equivalent. So more than one way to get there, but we should still get the answer of 12. It's going to be really helpful for me if you show some kind of work, especially if you happen to, somehow just have a moment and hit the wrong button on your calculator. It will help me to know what your process was to perhaps give you partial credit. All right, so it starts off pretty easy. We got some more. Now we have one that we have to do. It becomes an equation, but this one just becomes a two-step equation instead of one. So we're cross multiplying. So I have 3 times n minus 10 is equal to 6 times 8. I'm just going to go ahead and write 48 there. This would be 3n minus 30 is 48. And you might have done your distributing as you wrote it down. Then we would add 30 to both sides. Now I have 3n is 78. Divide both sides by 3. And n is equal to 26. Very good, very good. Awesome. Another one, same process, but now we're going to, after we cross multiply, we will have variables on both sides. And so that's what makes this one a little different than the one before. But again, very much the same process. So crisscross, so 18 times n minus 9. 6 times n equals in the middle, 18n minus 18 times 9, so times negative 9, so negative 152, 162. Yes, 162. Negative 162 is 6n. Now I'm going to subtract this. I'm going to actually subtract the 18n. And now I need to divide both sides by negative 12. 2 negatives we know make a positive. And I put that in my calculator and I got 13.5. You could also leave it in a fraction, but you would have to reduce the fraction, which would be 27 over 2. So I think most of us would probably have divided that. That would be a lot of reducing to do. But 27 over 2 would also be an okay answer. But I would anticipate most of us would use 13.5 for that problem. All right, next page. Now we have to, same process, but now we have to distribute both directions. So now we're doing the 3 times x minus 1 is equal to the 5 times x minus 6. Doesn't really matter which one you put on the left side or the right side, but you do have to be multiplying diagonals. One numerator times the opposite fraction's denominator. Get those variables on the same side. Add 3. Now I have negative 2x is equal to negative 27. So I have x is 27 over 2 again. And here I might anticipate more that someone might use 27 over 2 because as we solve the problem, that's just what we see. You do need to clean up the 2 negatives to make them a positive, and yes, you can also give me the answer of 13.5. We said from the beginning we might see more decimals or fractions in the proportion problems. And then you're going to have, what we have here is a literal equation, and remember this is when we're trying to get a variable by itself, a different one than is currently by itself. Actually, no one's completely alone here. So we want w to stay where it is. So if I want w to stay where it is, I'm going to treat the other variables as if they're numbers and I'm trying to solve. So I'm going to move the t over. So I'm going to subtract t to get rid of it. That puts it to the other side. Or, as I mentioned, you could just think of it as moving it over. It crosses over and now it's negative t. And then the w is still not by itself. Now it's with a. And w and a are right next to each other, which means they're being multiplied. So to get it by itself, I need to divide. So I will divide by a, and then everything on this side also divided by a. And obviously that doesn't simplify because none of these are numbers. So it's going to be simplest just to leave it all in one big fraction like that. There's water. Okay. Mixed up water. Again, these are review problems, so it should not be the first time that you are hearing about any of these topics. So here, we want to know how many journals were purchased. I started at the end again, so I'm going to let X be the journals. And so we have this says total cost is $432. So that's not the start, that's the total. Remember our spurt. What is our starting point? Our starting point, we're spending $332 on equipment, and then $5 for each journal, so 5x, and then it equals 432. That's the total. So we have a two-step equation. We'll subtract 332 on both sides. Then I have 5x is 100. Divide by 5 to get x is 20. So 20 journals. In this case, I know that writing journals might sound redundant since it asks the question right before it. It's also to help you remember what you're actually looking for instead of just giving you an answer blank. So that was the last lesson in our packet. So we have some other, these are not all in the same order as what we did them in our packet. We also did a fraction, or some equations where we cleared the fractions. And remember, to clear the fractions, you need to multiply by the lowest common multiple of the denominators, or some common multiple of the denominators. In this case, I see a 4 and a 3, so 4 times 3 is 12, and that actually is their lowest common multiple. So every term is going to get multiplied by 12. So the 4 goes into the 12 3 times, so this becomes 3x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. There is no fraction for the next part, so 12 times 7 is 84. 12 divided by 3 becomes 4x. And then 12 times 10 is 120. I'm getting my message about low battery, so hopefully I can get through the review. So take away 4x on both sides, or I could have moved my 3x over. Would have actually been one less step in this case. But I'm going to carry on. Take away 84. So then I have negative 1x is 36. So x is negative 36. I could plug that in to make sure it works. Negative 36 divided by 4 is negative 9. Negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. Negative 36 divided by 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 10 is also negative 2. So it checks. So we have some proportion problems that are word problems. Again, these are in a different section to remind you to use a proportion to solve them, not the spurt method. They don't fit that pattern. So 6 people, 3 cups of potatoes. So this is my people and my cups. How many cups for 9 people? And then I cross multiply. So 6x is 27. So when I divide, I get 4.5. So 4.5 cups for 9 people. Like if we were changing a recipe. In number 9, we have a map, and 2 inches on the map represents 35 miles. So 2 inches, 35 miles. So I'm putting inches on top and miles on the bottom. Nothing magical about that order, but I need to be consistent so that now when I see how far apart are 2 cities that are 6 inches apart. 6 is on top because it's inches. My x would be on the bottom, and then I can cross multiply. You might also think about 6 being 3 times 2. Either way, we should come up with 105 miles. That's how far apart they are, 105 miles. All right, here on our next page, now we have find the unit price if we bought 12 pounds of salmon for $84. So unit price, remember, we need to take the dollars, divide it by the units. So 84 is on top, divided by 12 would be $7 per pound. Or I could say $7 per pound. LB is also pound. I know that seems really odd, but it is. If the sales tax is 7%, find the tax on $123. So the tax would be the part. 123 is here. 7 over 100. So now if we do 7 times the 123, we come up and divide by 100, we come up with $8.61. That should seem reasonable to us because if it's 7%, it would be $7 on just 100. Right, looks like we might make it before the battery runs down. If you have earned 270 of a possible 300, what is your percent? So 270 would be my part. 300 is the total of a possible 300. We want to know what the percent is, so this is x over 100. Cross multiply, and we get 90%. Now, if it asks what is your percent, please be sure that you put a percent on your answer. If the discount rate is 30%, what is the sale price if the original price is $14? So this one's going to have two steps. So if the original price is 14, if I use this proportion, this would find the discount, which is fine. I cross multiply and I come up with $4.20. That's my discount. But did it ask me the discount? No, it said what's the sale price. So then I would have to do 14, take away $4.20, which is like if I were doing this on paper. So $9.80. I could also think in my head, if the discount is 30%, then I'm paying the other 70%. And then do x over 14 is 70 over 100. And then from that proportion, I get $9.80. By no means do you need to do it both ways. Just showing you that there's more than one way to get there. All right, I hope you will do a fantastic job on this quiz, and I hope that this review was helpful.